question.
Go ahead.
Why do white people hate us so much?
Sometimes our conversation started out easy.
How do you define racism? Racism is the unjust treatment of people of a different color, national origin, that is either from face-to-face interaction, but also more importantly institutionalized.
Yet things could quickly grow uncomfortable.
You define racism the way you did. Do you fit in that definition in any way? I'm not. I don't hold those views, and nor associate with people who do.
Most people struggle to explain racial inequality.
So the typical black family in America has much less money than the typical white family. How do you explain that? That's tough.
Some of it is opportunity. Some of it is some of it's your drive. Some of it's the way you're brought up.
But there's a lot of black people that don't get to where they can get. I don't know what to say about, intelligence-wise. If they're not as intelligent as white people, I mean, there are a lot that are very intelligent.
And almost no one used the term racism.
Intelligence-wise, if they're not as intelligent as white people, I mean, there are a lot that are very intelligent.
And almost no one used the term racism.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Why do white people hate us so much?
Let's talk about the dark history of why jails were created. In 1863, black slaves were freed, but it was more like a setup. After the Civil War, where 179,000 black men fought hoping for equality, the government turned prisons into a new form of slavery. By the 1880s, over 30,000 inmates were locked up, most of them black. Many were falsely accused and forced into hard labor, digging levees, building railroads, picking cotton, and mining coal for companies. Even kids weren't spared. George Stinney, a 14-year-old, was electrocuted in 1944 for a crime he didn't commit. Then, in the 1990s, the crime bill signed by Joe Biden made things worse, leading to mass incarceration that hit black and brown communities the hardest. The truth is, black people were never truly freed. Our fight for equality continues, and we must stay woke.
Greetings from the east to north to south, and this wicked-ass west. The topic, White Hate, Part 2. The questions, why you think they hate us so much? Let's get into it. I am your host. I am the one.
Number one, I would like to say thank you and welcome to the new subscribers. I can't believe it's 50 subscribers. Now, to most people, that may mean nothing, but it means a lot to me. So thank you. Let's get into this. Why do they hate us so much? One thing I would like to say is, who stole who? I can imagine we chilling in our own homeland. And here comes this devil. What devil? Wait. Let me bring him out again. This guy right here, this devil. He have the nerve to come over and steal a whole group of people. This same man have hate towards a group of people that he have stolen. You say, well, why do you hate us? I mean, realistically, wouldn't you say we should hate you? Realistically. But somehow, this devil hate us. He have all these policies that will ensure that we stay on the bottom. and his hateful ways and the way that he do things. He's so hateful, and a realistic person will have to stop and say, should not we hate you? But somehow, every single action that he does is hateful. Part 2. Now, one thing I did not know, and I got a series of videos coming up, but one of the things I did not know is they say 40% of white women owned slaves. Let me rephrase that statement. 40% of the slave owners were white women. Now, one thing that I really truly did not know is the sexual abuse that was going on with these women towards black men. Now, it's hard to understand these days, but for a white woman slave owner, and if you were a black man, if you did not comply, they will holler the word sexual abuse. I'm not sure I can use the R word on YouTube. So, sexual abuse. Imagine that for a moment. That the males were abused that way. Now, if you remember, there was a movie, I forgot the year, and this was a remake maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago, A Birth of a Nation. Now, during the original movie, even the president had a private viewing of the movie, A Birth of a Nation. And what the movie was about was the fear of free or emancipated black males. And the propaganda was they were coming after white women. And of course, these people, they form groups like the KKK in a propaganda movie to protect their women. But history shows that their women were abusing black males. And if he did not comply, they will holler the R word. So he was going to die either way. This is really, this piece of information has been kept out of the history books. Now, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go to a clip. And then I'll come back explaining what happened. I'll be back.
Annotated bibliography research has been about the role of white women in the maintenance of slavery as an institution. The biggest takeaway that I have learned is that white slaveholding women felt entitled to exert a tremendous amount of control over their slaves. They played a very active role in furthering slavery for their own interests. White women helped the maintenance of slavery because they reaped immense benefits from it. White women were willing to participate in slavery because in many southern states, slaves were essentially the only property that a woman could independently own from her husband. Additionally, southern slave-owning women routinely sexually assaulted black men or coerced black men into relationships, revealing the degree to which they truly felt ownership over the black body. Additionally, southern slave-owning women routinely sexually assaulted black men or coerced black men into relationships, revealing the degree to which they truly felt ownership over the black body. Despite the cultural belief that black people were inferior, the black male body was a subject of fascination for many white women. Black men were portrayed as hypersexualized, and white slave owning women often used them as opportunities for sexual exploration in the face of cultural norms of moderation and virginal virtue. In other words, women felt entitled to full control and ownership over black bodies. White women who were exposed for their relationships with black men could rely on the mantle of white female purity to avoid any blame being placed on themselves. From this developed the myth of the black rapist and the belief that black men inherently desire white women. Violence against black men and the need to maintain slavery could therefore be justified by slave owners as necessary to protect the virtue of white women.
Okay, let me pose the question again. Why do you hate us so much? Why do you hate us? Now, as we know, all the crimes and however you want to phrase it, the hatred that you have against us, and all the crimes that you have committed against us, why do you hate us? As we know, in 2025, that old cliche rings true. After all the abuse that these women have done against us, and it's 2025, a white woman's tears will still get a black man at least 15 years or worse. So you hate us. You claim to be superior. You say we are inferior. You're supposed to be the most beautiful people on the planet. Okay? You have more money than the majority of us. You live on the best real estate, the best real estate on the whole planet. So again, what do we have to do with you? Well, let me tell you something. According to the scriptures, you will have a perpetual hatred against us forever. It is just that simple. Think about this for a minute. I'm going to give a quick analogy here. If you like football and you was a high school football star, you was a grade school football star, high school football star, college football star, and then you make it to the big time, the NFL. So everybody know you are the star. Oh, look at so-and-so. Heisman Trophy winner. This guy's a star. And then you got this person was no type of star in grade school. He was mediocre in high school. College, he was on the team. He was all so-so. And he get to the big show, the NFL. And when he get to the NFL, he excel. And he leapfrog over the Heisman Trophy winner. And that Heisman Trophy winner will look and say, wait a minute, you don't compare to me. Don't you know I'm the star? And the mediocre player make it to the Super Bowl and he wins. And he wins effortlessly. Not that much effort. He makes it look easy. And then there becomes a hate between the Heisman Trophy winner and the so-called mediocre player. And it becomes a perpetual hatred because you'll say, wait a minute, I'm the star. It's almost like a story I heard. One of these people was in high school. And she's one of these people. And she's supposed to be so intelligent, so high up. But guess what happened? One of these people come along. And this person leapfrog over her. And this is academics. I hope I'm saying that word right. Just leapfrog over her. And this woman saying, this little girl saying, wait a minute. You know who I am? But this person did it. Highly educated. That's not supposed to happen. There's a guy over in Africa right now. And I don't know the story completely, but he have come up with a way that you don't really need electricity to run the car. Now, Elon Musk, supposedly his Tesla runs on some type of battery. Now, he had all the backing in the world. Every bit of resource that he need, he got it. But guess what? This guy in Africa, limited resources, but his car does not even run on battery. It runs off of natural sources. I'm not a scientist. I don't understand how he did it. Of course, these people say, you cannot get a patent on it. You can't get a patent because I don't believe you. He had limited resources, but he got the job done. That'll give you a perpetual hatred towards that person. You can believe that. I'm going to do a story about that one too. I have one final clip, and I must show this, and then that'll be it. I'll be back.
The Women's KKK was a separate but affiliated racist group of white Protestant women. They got more members through empowerment feminism. The first version of the KKK emerged in Pulaski, Tennessee after the Civil War. It was established by men who were upset about the newly liberated black population. They were angry about their political rights and sought purpose, thrill, and a socially accepted platform where they could be violent. These early KKK members wanted something new, but they wanted to keep it under a veil of secrecy, and they did just that. The KKK created a strict organization with many ceremonies that would go perfectly with their hateful, anti-Reconstruction goals. During the starting days of the Klan, women didn't actively participate, but they did sew their husbands' and family members' clothes for the ceremonies. Women also had a symbolic role to play. One of the goals of these extremists, as they saw it, was to shield pure and innocent women from the frightening black people who were now a threat. Especially in its early years, the male Klan held two conflicting views of femininity and womanhood. One was a fantasy, and the other was a concession to real people. In their minds, white Protestant women were pure, virtuous beings whose main purpose was to support and serve men. In return, men would safeguard these vulnerable ladies from those sexually aggressive black men. In the second phase of the Klan came the Women's KKK. This was a related but separate group specifically for white Protestant women. The early days of the WKKK were marked by conflicts within the Klan itself. One leader of the male Klan started a group called the Camellias. It focused on women and advocated for white supremacy so that he could increase his own influence. Another leader joined forces with a secretive women's society called the Queens of the Golden Mask. Eventually, the Golden Mask group prevailed and became the WKKK. It was the first authorized in Little Rock, Arkansas in 1923. At its height, the WKKK had branches in every state, especially in Arkansas, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Indiana. Much like the male KKK, the WKKK had a structured system. Interestingly, the system had similar aspects to the Roman Catholic hierarchy. There were positions like the Imperial Commander, Claylifts, Clocards, Cligraps, Claybees, along with the Klexter Chlorogos. People in these positions were responsible for enforcing Klan rules. They recruited members, collected dues, organized events, and so on. But all of these roles and activities were influenced by racism, nationalism, fear of outsiders, and a determination to protect the family. In contrast to their male counterparts, the WKKK didn't often participate in lynching or other violent acts, aside from a 1924 incident where members paraded with clubs. Because of this absence of physical violence, many historians tend to see WKKK members, as well as women in racist movements in general, as obscure and relatively unimportant figures. They just see them as people who worked in the background of their men. But
anybody with a half a brain No, that last part is a lie. If these women can be violent, you know, during being a slave owner, and all of a sudden, no, they're not violent. Give me a break. Give me a break. They were just as violent as these men. Don't trust them. There's a Bible verse that says, never trust your enemies, whether male or female. Thank you for watching. I'm your host,